or being in a relationship sucks.
It just means that you're probably very insecure.
They always say marriage is compromise, right? Yeah.
Not really a compromise, but it can also complement, right?
I think one plan is to not have a partner.
A lot of people nowadays we are seeing that they want to go on sabbaticals, sometimes 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and they're asking me like, hey, can we do this? Do we have enough?
Right.
And my answer is always, yes, you have enough. Yeah, but how do you do that? So maybe they're thinking of saying doing a 6 months, and we realize that actually they don't have enough for that. How can we still let them go without diminishing their joy? If 6 months is too much, go for a 3-month one. You still get the joy of going out, enjoying yourself, and next time when you save even better, you get to go for a 6-month thing.
Right, okay.
Right, so you still get to do that. Yeah.
I feel that budgeting is a very emotional situation. What matters to you doesn't matter to everybody else. I have a friend, his father, back then he was like a collectibles person. Like he likes to buy cards and stuff. So when he buys one for the kid, he'll buy one and keep in his like safe box. Right. So he develops this same hobby with from his dad. Then he thinks that this insurance for like all his collectibles is essentially worth more than like potentially saving up for the kid's future university. And the kid is present, the kid is alive, no? He was a beneficiary of his father's doing where he collected a bunch of stuff, right? So one of those boxes of like cards sold $50,000. Wow. And mind you, he has a bunch. So when he turned of age, the trust happened already, he got it. He realized how good this system is. Because the money comes to me, I can decide. The wife and him argument. Why you cannot see that the children need to be educated? Right? Then he's like, no, but if I insure this, right, and ensure that it goes down to the kid can sell it, it will never depreciate. You go to job to get money. I have my money, just need to make sure that it's safe and I give it to the kid. Right? Why are you thinking such a roundabout way of doing it? How do you decide whether or not your partitions of things is logical or emotional?
I think, maybe, okay. I mean, the analogy of an aeroplane, right? When any emergency happens, they always say, right, make sure to protect yourself first before you protect your children.
Right.
And the whole idea is that because you are the one that is taking care of this child, right? If something happens to you, they also go with you. Right. So if you prioritize them first and then you neglect your own personal protection, I think that's where you lose both instead of just one.
Joe, what do you think? Do you also believe in the airplane logic of protect myself, then I protect the dependents?
100%. Because a lot of my clients with children, even though you would think that people would know, like, cover yourself because you are the breadwinner, you need to replace your income. Some of my clients still go and cover their children without covering themselves. Yeah, so what John says is totally correct.
Right.
Yeah, but I think philosophically as well, like, to each his own.
Right.
Wherever you put your value. So I feel for your friends who the husband's value is the collectibles, right? Then the wife, of course, for the child, and for humans, is really making your own choice. I mean, your life, your choice at the end of the day, but within reasonable limits. Don't need to be so perfect, but yeah, it's up to you, your choice.
Does your friend with the Pokemon card need a financial consultant?
No, have already. The funniest part about all of this is that when he was coming and stressing about it, right, all of us were just like, go and find an FA, he'll sort it out for you. Then he was like, no, all the FA I meet, right, will just tell me to stop this nonsense.
Actually,
we will all tell him to do this.
Correct. So then I told him no, because the FA is to advise you, right? So if that is your value, right, they will just ask you to follow your heart and do it, ma. Yeah. Okay, but now here's the thing. I want to circle back to the children's thing. Because since budgeting is like emotional thing, ma. There's so much emotional investment in kids. The child will always be the pinnacle of your existence. Then does that mindset change for you that save myself first, then save my kid?
Actually, 100%. So I got 2 boys. They are very young. So yeah, I think 100% true that you should assure yourself first, right?
Right.
Mainly because they are dependent on us and we are not dependent on them.
Right.
When we talk about logical planning or emotional planning, the whole idea about planning is actually to replace our income.
Right.
So if you think about it, why do I need to buy insurance? Is for that reason.
Correct.
But my kids are not earning anything. if anything happens to them, if technically it will be more of an emotional loss than a financial loss.
Right.
So when you're talking about kids sick, right, that's hospital insurance.
Correct.
Bump up to the highest and it's so cheap.
Yeah.
But talking about life insurance is the income replacement. It's a whole different ballgame. So when I talk about my clients who buy a huge life insurance for their child, that is the one that Josh was talking about. Like, why do you need to replace the child's income? That means
right.
When a child goes to hospital, definitely he needs a very good super cheap. But life insurance is on the parents.
Okay.
First, most ideal, of course, is all are covered.
Correct.
But with limited budget, make sure all the hospitalization is all settled.
Correct.
Then, of course, when it comes to the life insurance that replace our income, then that should be on the parent, right? Instead of the child.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's also it's also a timeline, right? So it's not like all happen at once. Like as singles, we can plan for our personal insurance now. When we get married, we make sure our spouses are well covered, and then when the kid comes, then we make sure that we allocate another.
Right.
So I think it spaces it out as well. Yeah.
Correct. As single people, when we plan our personal finances, right, it doesn't make any difference how we plan it. Here's my question to the married and once married people. Does your financial plan look wild to your spouse, or are you worried that it will look wild to your spouse? Because this is me still getting hung up on the fact that, right, like there was a 2-week argument between my friend and the wife over the stupid Pokemon cards thing, no? Right? But then who's to say that your plan is better than mine? You get what I'm trying to say? Right?
The one word reply for me would be communication.
Okay.
And this is really boils down to the partner that you choose or you end up with. Is really about, not say really seeing eye to eye, because two people, two different genders, different background, you'll never really be able to see eye to eye.
Yes.
But it's the willingness to come to, I don't want to use the word compromise. They always say marriage is compromise. Right? And that plays out very well for you.
I guess not really a compromise, but it can also complement, right?
Right.
Get
wrecked, son.
Boom.
Preach, man.
So at least for myself, I generally handle all the finance in my family. Right. All the kids, planning, insurance, their education, fees, etc. It's all kind of planned out, right? But we just want to make sure that yes, communication is done, but in a logical way. Because a lot of time actually it's quite emotional. We generally have a way of justifying our hobbies right? I mean, at the end of the day, you want to leave 2 million for the child. Yes, I think if we like certain things to be done in our family, right, versus our spouse may see it very differently, then communicate, make sure that you are kind of meeting somewhere for a balance. It's
very hard for you to then combine plans, because every plan is packed on a very specific way of operation. Right? So, for example, the pyramid concept would then be that the base will always be stronger than the top, and then you have a very safe way to navigate systems. Then there are other systems like jar systems where they are just individual different piles that always vary based on your current life stage. Those two systems meshing together would be insane.
Actually, I 100% understand what you're saying, because even as a single, I do understand that if two very strong, opinionated people come together, right, you probably will never get a place of compromise or compliment, especially if they're very opinionated. And I guess how we can solve that is to filter in the filtering process, right? When we're dating, right, we realize that, oh my gosh, finances, we're going to clash like crazy. Have a conversation with them. Hey, is it something that we can really discuss on and work on together, or this is like a no-no? I think from there you have a better chance at deciding whether.
Right. Yeah. But it's such a past late 20s conversation, because I cannot imagine Gen Z's 18-year-old what's your financial plan? Bro,
that's true. That's true.
That's wild. Okay there's some people who are like that, who figure out, then after that they say they plan 21 on do day trading on kind of stuff. Okay if you're financial savvy and that's your hobby, can. But it's so hard to get that conversation going though, because here's the thing. I believe that financial information is, I don't know what I don't know, and there's no impetus for me to know. If you look around, there will always be somebody in a friend circle, right, who is financially savvy, and it gives you this false impression that someday if I'm financially dumb, I'll just meet my really good husband who's with all the financial planning. He drives 6'5", blue eyes, and then
man in finance.
Yeah, right. So That's the logic, you see, where you don't need financial knowledge yourself. But you only find out that this person has no plan, every day eat Maggie, then you're already very close to marriage, then habis ma.
I saw you eating Maggie before the...
Yeah, correct. No, but hey, here's the thing. Correct. Here's the thing.
Something happening here?
Yes, there is. I have scattered around and tried to look for breakfast near my house, and that's the cheapest I can find.
Wow.
It costs 110 on a good day, 90 cents for my breakfast.
Wow.
So to me, right, I don't need to have a grand breakfast cause you wake up, you start work already. Yeah. But then what do I eat for lunch? $13 balance out, right?
That's the catch.
Yeah, correct. So that's how I manage my money. Because emotionally it needs to feel good. If I don't have time to eat the food, then the food doesn't need to look good. But when I have time to eat the food better look like I everyday king.
That's a good spending plan.
Correct, right? So, but we circle back to the logic of, okay, I meet a person, I have a good spending plan. They think they have a good spending plan. You match your system. It doesn't work. What happens then? You convince that your plan is better. You make her a new plan and hope she subscribes it, or you come up with this half-botched Frankenstein-esque plan that includes her life plan. Yeah. What is a logical base step for people who currently are facing this situation?
I can speak because for these past almost 10 years now, like my idea is always get your partner to meet me as well. Because I'll be the objective third party to be able to have that conversation. Or even extrapolating from there also, kids want to talk about money or will or insurance with parents, they find it very hard to open their mind.
Right.
But with me, it's, this is a financial planning consultation. We can talk about that. Yeah, but in the rare case where I'm not so sure for this client whether they have very opposing viewpoints, but I've been trying to get to meet his wife for many years. He understands the logic, but he lets her do her own planning.
Right.
And nowadays also, females are working.
Yep.
So for those who are really very strongly opposed, my gut feel is the relationship might not work out if finances is not the only thing that they're always clashing. But for those who are really strongly opposed, only in finances, that means their relationship still can work.
Right.
Then they just separate their financial planning.
Yeah.
That means she have her own way of planning. He has his own way of planning. But of course, they have to overlap in terms of children.
Correct, right,
should you pay for NUS or whatever, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think to add on to that, right, that whole concept is actually actualized in your finance system. So for example, if they have very opposing views, right, the guy can have their own bank account, the girl has their own bank account, but they have a joint account.
Right.
And the joint account is where they put finances that they agree on for certain things like the children, how they're going to spend it. So they still have the autonomy and the freedom to spend and save however they like in their own accounts. But when it comes to the joint account, that's where, okay, these are things that we definitely agree on and we'll commit to. So I think this is the most practical solution for such a situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there are conflicts where I think that, okay, I only need to cover maybe like if I'm married, right, my children's education, like simple one, you go primary school. Then the mom is like, but everybody's kid go piano, no, they go violin, they must have some skill, ma. If not with the university, right, then orientation, right, people tell me one interesting fact. I know I got no skills. Very loud what, right? So must let them learn something, karate, defend themselves. And as a dad, you're like, no lah, general education good enough, right? Then if they're really interested, then they go and like find a way to fund themselves lah, right? And those are differing concepts lah. So what might be a deal breaker when it comes to a difference in financial planning?
I think one plan is to not have a partner.
I mean, correct lah. But that's like people like it's like why every day gonna bomb. Then what happened? Don't war lor.
No, because for me, it sounds a bit like the podcast is going to like, wow, it's very tough to be in a relationship, which it is. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
And marriage and things like that lah.
I'm not saying that being in a relationship sucks. No, it doesn't, right? It doesn't. The problem is then because there are two different biscuits trying to become a cookie, and that's a problem. What is the magic sauce? What is my Oreo white part that I'm trying to figure out? What I'm trying to find out is there an egg that you thought is going to be a deal breaker? Like a girl who spends 4,000 on her Gucci bag all the time.
I think one, you raised it out, right? Which is like they're just overspending way beyond their budget and they don't see it themselves. So the lack of self-awareness is one. Right. Second thing is that if they are constantly planning based on other people's opinion, I think that was like a red flag for me, because it just means that you're probably very insecure. You're so conscious of what other people think. So I think this would be my two major icks per se lah.
My major ick is when a person believes that they won't die because they never see before. So they are not covered. They don't cover enough, and they are not bothered to go and find out what happens next.
Oh, you sound like the financial consultant.
No, because here's the thing, right? Okay, you can tell when a person changes their demeanor once they've experienced a close death. They understand the value of life now. But suddenly you're very scared. Then you come out with your financial plan, no matter how shabby it is, right? And to me, that's usually how I judge a character, because the person hasn't experienced enough of life for you to understand that. The financial planning is very indicative of this person's capability to understand the worldview. Because if you don't plan, means you haven't earned enough money for it to be unmanageable, and you haven't spent enough money for it to be broke. Then if you don't have a insurance plan, means nothing has happened to your life before. Your everyday smooth sailing one. I don't know what your worst day looks like.
Well, it means a girl cannot date you if she got no insurance.
Yeah.
not saying cannot. If she want to buy, she cannot afford. Can you got to
date you? She need to buy insurance.
No lah, it sounds like some love scam. It's just a general judge of character.
It's an indicator.
It's an indicator lah. Red flag, green flags.
It shows you like a long term.
Yeah, if I have a discussion with her, like, hey, do you understand what this works? Like, I understand. I don't fully subscribe to it, but okay, I can respect the fact that you actively decline insurance.
No, 100% right.
Yeah.
I think because like it also does reflect where they are in life.
Correct.
A lot, and it probably in terms of emotional maturity as well. You're in a far different place.
Yeah. My parents put money in a butter cookie can. No, my kid wants Bitcoin, bro.
I cannot imagine myself using those instruments to determine whether my kids goes to uni or not.
Okay, yeah.